Hey everybody, I'm Charlie Lennon, and I am your leadership coach, speaker, and trainer. And I am so excited to host the Communicate to Lead virtual leadership conference. I hope that you all have been enjoying this conference and just going home with a wealth of knowledge. We are bringing this to you completely virtual, so you can watch this anytime, any day. Enjoy. We have had a wealth of knowledge here at the Communicate to Lead virtual conference. We have had fantastic guest speakers, and today is no different. I would like to welcome you all to our guest speaker for today's session, Nakia Roberson. Welcome. Yay! How are you?
I am well. How are you? Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited.
Yay! Wonderful. So, Nakia, if you could please introduce yourself and then what you do within your company.
Okay, so my name is Nakia L. Roberson, and I am a licensed professional counselor supervisor. I am also a clinical relationship coach, sex therapist, and sexologist. I am the founder and CEO of Next Stage Counseling and Wellness, which is a group practice. So I work a lot with couples, people, individuals with relational issues. And I have a group practice, so there are other clinicians that work with me, and we just want to make sure that we have couples and individuals that are healthy and mentally well.
That's that's a huge, no, that's a lot to do. So kudos to you. You're doing the Lord's work with that.
Amen. Amen. Amen.
That's wonderful. I love it. So with that being said, because you're doing the Lord's work, we get to just jump right into maybe some of the tougher questions that for you probably won't be so difficult.
Okay.
But with those that are in leadership, we know that a lot of leadership deals with having to communicate with others. And that's why, we're calling this conference Communicate to Lead. But not every conversation is a super easy one. Everything's a high and a buy. So thinking about some of those more difficult conversations, talk
Okay.
to me about your recommendations on how we should go about handling those tougher conversations with others.
Um, so tough conversations, sometimes we scurry away from them, right? But the thing is, we have to have those conversations in order for us to get clarity and for us to get direction on where we're going. So with those tough conversations, I would recommend, first of all, being open to hear and to be able to take in what the other person says. Even when I'm working with couples, I tell them all the time, you want to focus on the behavior, right? And not attack the person. Right. So we're going to talk about what it is that we need to work through that particular thing, but I'm not attacking you as a person. Also, when you're having tough conversations, you want to make sure that you're open for feedback, right? So making sure that you're understanding what the other person is saying. So we do an activity called mirroring. And so that means that I'm going to repeat back to you what I heard you say, right? So that you can make any kind of corrections along the way to make sure that I heard the right thing. I even do this with my daughter. Sometimes I'm telling her to do something, and then I say, okay, what did you hear me say? And she says, well, you said that you were mad. No, I didn't. That's not what I said. Right. And that's sometimes how it is when we're communicating with our colleagues and with our coworkers, is they hear one thing and that's not what we're saying. So this is a time for me to correct what I'm saying to make sure that we're on the same page. In order for us to get to a certain point, right, we got to be on the same page. So I want to make sure that you're understanding what it is that I am saying. Another thing, when you're having difficult conversations with other people, you want to make sure that you are, like I said, listening to understand, not listening to respond. You want to make sure that you're validating. Okay, what am I doing right? Because when we have these conversations and they're hard and we hear these hard things, sometimes it put the other person on the defense because they feel like, oh man, I can do nothing wrong. I mean, nothing right. Dang if I do, dang if I don't. So let me validate. First, let me tell you what it is that you're doing right. And let me validate how you are feeling. But then also let me tell you what we need to do to course correct. And I tell people all of the time, like, don't go into conversations like that emotionally charged. right? Check your emotions, because sometimes our emotions don't tell us the truth. And what I mean by that is, you may say that, you go into something, I'm angry, I'm upset. But then if I check my emotions and I take a step back and really check how it is that I'm feeling, where's this coming from? What has happened to get me to feel this way, or to cause me, or that I believe that caused me to feel this way? I may realize that I'm really not angry. Maybe I'm insecure. Maybe I'm jealous. Maybe, so check your emotion. Don't go into it emotionally charged, because our emotion can sometimes lie. And then we can mess up a whole relationship, right? Especially with the person that you're working with. If you're like the CEO of you're over somebody, you don't want to mess up that relationship. So let's just talk about the behavior. I'm not going to attack you as a person. I'm going to hear what you have to say. I'm going to validate, but I'm going to also make sure that you're understanding what I'm saying by, like I said, mirroring. Okay, what did you hear me say? I'm going to do the same thing. What did I hear you say when you respond? So
That's extreme. That's very effective.
Mm-hmm.
I think that key piece in being able to repeat what the other person said
Yeah.
is really a dynamic piece, because there could be times where someone may truly misunderstand what you said. That they really did think you said X when really you said Y. So
Right.
I could really respect that idea of you saying, hey, repeat it back and check to make sure
Yeah.
that you're on that same page.
Yeah, yeah. And
Yeah.
it's not to make it sound like elementary, right? I'm not trying to make it sound like you don't know or trying to belittle you as a person. It's just that I want to make sure that we're on the same page, because we cannot solve a situation if you're trying to move the couch and I'm trying to move the end table, right? We
Right.
both be on the same page. We're both trying to move the couch. So let's talk about that. So I want to make sure that you're understanding what I'm saying. And then another thing that I would add too is, you want to make sure, if you're the supervisor, making sure that you're taking notes, and you can share that with the person that you've had the conversation with, right? So based on our conversation, we talked about X, Y, and we talked about Z. And then I'm also going to follow up with you, right? So we're going to check in with each other, and I'm going to follow up.
That follow-up piece is the save the day right there.
Mm.
Because you honestly have more time to think it over too. So it's just like how you said, you shouldn't act in emotion. You also need time to reflect on that conversation before you even make that decision. So that's a key piece there that you shared. Now, again, with those difficult conversations, there does come sometimes you got to give and get feedback.
Mhm.
And that's a big piece of being in a leadership role, just like how you shared. It's a key piece with all of our relationships that we can work on, even relationships that we have in the home. How do you coach people to be able to give and receive constructive feedback?
Child, we live in a time to where people feel like when they receive feedback that you're attacking them, right? So one of the things that I would say is, you want to sandwich, right? I don't know if you've heard like the sandwich method. You want to sandwich the constructive feedback that you have. So I will open it up with, let me give you something. What are some strengths, right? What are some things that you're doing well? And then I'm going to be specific, not general. I'm going to be specific, right? Because I can't say I want you to clean the kitchen and then I get mad because you didn't wipe the countertops and you didn't sweep. Okay, so I got to be specific with my feedback, or what the issue is that I have. And then I'm going to end it with some encouraging words, right? I believe that we can do this together. And also, you want to make sure that you are looking at the person that you're working with, and you are making sure that they're in a position of strength, right? So what I mean by that is making sure that they're in a position of strength, is because we can sometimes have people in different positions, but that's not their strong suit. And so you're going to forever be ticked off, and they're going to forever be frustrated, and they're going to forever think that they can do nothing right, and that they cannot please or satisfy you, right? And so that's going to bring that's going to bring their esteem down, and that's going to have them not feeling well about themselves. And so I want to look at, like, what are you strong at? What is your position of strength? One of the things that I want to say is a friend of mine, when you talk about constructive feedback, one of the things that she had to do as a leader of her home is, and a leader in general, you have to step back and you have to look at everybody that you're working with, right? You got to look at everything that they're doing, and you got to say, okay, this person is strong in this area. This is an area of growth for this person. And so one of the things that she had to do when she was giving constructive feedback to her children with cleaning the kitchen is she had to realize that my daughter, who has vision problems, every time she cleans the kitchen, I'm having an issue with when she sweeps the floor. So she had to come to a point to say, because of her deficit, she's not able to be as detailed as I would like for her to be. So she had to play on her strength. So no longer do you sweep the floor, but now your job is to do whatever she sees that she's stronger at. So when we give constructive criticism to people, we also have to look at, are we playing to their strengths? Because if you're not, then you're going to continuously have issues, and you're going to continuously have those conversations of, things that you're not satisfied with. But like I said, you always want to start with what's going well, what's going well, and then this is what we need to work on. And I'm going to be specific, and I'm going to give you examples, right? Because sometimes we do that. We say, you need to do this, you need to do that. Okay, but when did I do that? Why, when did this happen? So be able to be specific with it. Okay, so on Tuesday, this happened and it needed to go this way. And then on Friday, this happened and it needed to go this way. So be specific with what you're saying, and then end it on a positive note as well. So, okay, so together, I believe that we can do this, because I see that you are always eager to make sure that you're doing a good job. And so I'm going to come back to you in a couple of days, and we're going to see how things are.
When I was listening to you, something that came top to mind is the idea of making sure that we are setting people up for success.
Mm-hmm.
And so, if we're going to give that constructive feedback, we first have to check ourselves as leaders to make sure, okay, let me take some ownership in this.
Mm-hmm.
Is this an area where I could have done better? Mm-hmm. And if so, I could still give that constructive feedback, but it's going to come from a different lens. Right. Of how we are going to move in a different direction. Because you're absolutely right. As soon as you said that, I'm in my brain, I'm listing all kinds of things that if you put me in charge of, we're setting me up for failure. Anything with numbers, math. Okay. I'm not, no. Okay. Don't give me anything with math. I remember when I was a principal and I had to come up with the schedule, the actual bell schedule. Mm-hmm. Girl, I did that like 3-4 times. And I kept saying, there's not enough minutes in the day. I just kept doing it. And finally, I had to take a step back and humble myself and remind, I can't do everything. And remember, Charlie, this is not one of your strengths. Mm-hmm. Math ain't it, and the math's not mathing. Mm-hmm. And I handed that over to someone else. Girl, right. They did that in like 15 minutes. And they were like, you made lunch. I had forgotten to put the passing period between lunch or something weird. I don't know. But it's what you're saying. It's making sure that we are setting people up for success. And so right. I enjoyed listening to that.
Right. And so, I'm sorry, but like you were saying, like being the leader, being the principal of that school and having to do that schedule, we also have to look at, as leaders, what is the vision, right? What is the bigger picture? What is the overall goal? Your goal was to get that schedule together. That don't mean you had to do it. So as leaders, we have to say, it's okay for me to delegate. It's okay for me to say, this is not my strong suit. Let me give it to somebody else who is stronger in this area, who's going to get us there faster. The goal is for us to get there. The goal is to get the schedule done. It don't mean that Charlie has to do it, right? So you got the schedule done. That's the goal.
That's right.
Back to your vision, right?
Yes. No, it's true. And that's a reflective time for me that now, moving forward, I say, okay, I'm not going to set myself up like that anymore. As we go through leadership, we grow and we get better and better. And that was a hard lesson that I had to learn as well, that like, hey, I can't do everything. Mm-hmm. And nor should I even attempt to. which leads me to this final question just around the idea of, I hate to say the word balance because there's probably, never really a true balance, but
Right.
with leadership, there comes a lot of stress and a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
And what is your recommendations or strategies or things that you've seen to help those that are in these tough positions and these, high pressure roles to manage that stress and remain resilient?
Because I am a spiritual person, the first thing that I would say is pray, right? I have got to, I personally, I have to pray and, kind of ask God for a calmness and, ask Him to give me peace and ask Him to give me strength. And then, of course, as a therapist, I would say, it's okay to seek out a therapist or to seek out help, right? We can pray and go to therapy, y'all. Okay. Like Cardi B, okay. But no, we can pray and we can go to therapy. You can do both, right? You can do both. It is both and it don't have to be either or. So pray, go to therapy, talk to somebody. Sometimes we have to get things off of our chests. Exercise, right? Get your body moving, whether that is you going outside for a walk. I would say, sometimes we can take a mindfulness walk to where we are just kind of like in tune to what's going on around us. That helps to ground us. Okay. Because sometimes with stress and worry, that means that we are concerned about something that hasn't happened yet. Right. And so I tell people all of the time, I'm like, we're in 2024. When we begin to worry, you're all the way in 2034. Come on back to 2024. So I have to ground myself by saying, okay, what's going on around me right now at whatever time it is, what's happening. So ground yourself by taking some walks. Water, stay hydrated. Stay hydrated. My esthetician says people say black don't crack. And she says, but dehydrated black cracks. Right. So stay hydrated, drink some water. And sometimes you think you're hungry when you just need some water. So
Stop telling on me.
so drink some water. I would also say eating, making sure that you're having a well balanced diet. Gosh, there's a lot can go into this one.
Yeah.
Getting some good sleep. Right? Stop trying to stay up like want to stay up 2 days and stuff. Don't that you want to be delirious. Take yourself to bed, go to sleep and rest your mind because we are firing off all day long. Give your mind some time to calm down. Have a nighttime routine. Do some journaling, gratitude journaling, right? Sometimes when we're stressed and we're worried, like I said, we're worried about other things, but then we also have to say, okay, well, what is it that I'm grateful for? What's happening right now in my life that I can say, you know what, man, with all of this stuff that's going on, you know what, this right here is good, right? This right here is well. This is well with my soul. So do some gratitude, right? I tell my clients to keep a gratitude journal because sometimes we have to look back, right? It's okay to look back and say, you know what, if God brought me from that, I know He can bring me through this. So doing some journaling, having fun, laugh. Sometimes I will put on a comedy show or a comedy movie or, just so that I could crack up laughing. You want to keep humor in your life and have fun. Don't act like you got a stick up your butt, right? Go enjoy yourself and have fun and laugh and oh gosh, Charlie, this is a good one. I have so much have boundaries.
Somebody is taking notes. Someone needs to hear this, and because when you give multiple strategies, some will resonate with people more than others, and so it's a blessing to be able to have you share so many because what works for one person may not work for the other. However, selfishly, what I did hear you say was that you loved when you used to work with Charlie because of the laughter that she brought. That's what
I said. I did say that.
You remember how you said, repeat back to me what
What
you
you
heard?
heard me say.
That's what I heard you say. I heard you say
You know
that.
what? You know what? I think you're right. You're right. I did say it. I had to catch it.
But you heard it.
It was floating out there, but I caught it, and yes, and then it's verbally coming out. Yes, when I worked with Charlie, fun times, right? We did have some fun. It was definitely
It
some laughs.
was. I'm just teasing, but no, but you're right about that. You do have to enjoy and laugh and smile. And I can honestly say that what you're saying, you preached very well, because I did get the opportunity to work with you, and I did see how you were able to manage stress very well. You know, leading a counseling department is not easy. And being in a school system is not easy. And then you transitioning now to a business owner, you are speaking from a real place. This is not imaginary ideas. These are things that people can actually implement today, right?
Yeah.
So slow down. You know, like you said, maybe you need to journal and be appreciative of the things that are happening. I think everything. So no, that was not loaded. I appreciate you sharing, because somebody needs to hear that today. Somebody is feeling the weight on their shoulders, and they need some ideas on how they can actually decompress and remain mentally stable.
Right.
So that's great. Yes.
And laughing at yourself, girl.
But
we sometimes take ourselves too seriously.
right.
And I just thought about that when we used to work together, because I mean, there have been several times that I would do something and I'm just like, girl, why you do that? Or you know, a parent or whatever, and it's like, girl, and you just have to laugh at yourself.
You do. You
okay,
do.
you know. So
yeah, that's true. Okay, so if we can end, even though I just always love when I get to hear from you, I need to come and sit in your therapeutic chair again. I do miss the free therapy that I got. Now you are right, you need to charge. So y'all don't be trying to get these therapists free therapy. But when you're thinking about all the things that we kind of talked about today, and just people in leadership in general, or even that emerging leader, somebody who is interested in becoming a leader, what would your final thought be to them? What could you leave us with today?
My final thought, I would say, well, we talked about, you know, taking care of yourself, but I will also say you definitely want to be a leader that, I would say, have empathy and compassion. Yeah, I would say have empathy and compassion. People have to know that you genuinely care. Right? You think about that, and even like you said, you know, with us working together in the educational setting, one of the things we used to tell teachers all of the time is, if a student, right, and people, we're people, right? So if people know that you genuinely care about them, care about their well-being, right, and they're just not just a number, and they will rise up for you. They will go above and beyond for you. So be compassionate, show empathy to those that you are working, and also let them know, you know, that just because I am your quote unquote leader, that does not mean that I am above you and you are beneath me, right? We are working together.
Absolutely.
I always say, when clinicians come and work in my company, I don't say that you work for me, you work with me. We are working together, because the thing is, if you have a vision and if you're on board with the vision, we are working together to push that vision forward. So if I want you to give your best, then I have to show that I'm genuinely interested in Charlie. I care about Charlie, right? And the compassion comes in is, if I see that there's something that I could do to help Charlie and to help make your life and your job easier, then guess what, sis? I got you. I got you. Right? And then when I need something from you, you're going to be like, you know what? I got her, because she had me. Reciprocity.
That's right. Well, sis, I got you today, and I appreciate you having me today. Thank you so much for coming on the Communicate to Lead Virtual Leadership Conference. I appreciate your wisdom and the guidance that you have shared with us today. I think it's going to definitely touch somebody, because I know that I've got nuggets that I'm going to go back and reflect and watch this again and make sure that I'm taking note of the answers that I'm receiving, you know, because we all can do a better job within our own leadership journey. So thank you so much for coming on the Communicate to Lead virtual conference.
Yes, thank you for having me.
Wonderful. Thank you all for coming to the Communicate to Lead virtual leadership conference. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.